said didn't matter. Growing up, don't you want to look like that little girl over there? Or she's much prettier than you. You see, there's different types of abuses, whether it's physical, verbal, and we do it within our community, and it needs to stop. The comparison of what or who, you know, what we should look like, how we should be, shouldn't matter. You just need to be the person that you are. And so your voice, you know, what you said, and even what you said, you know, you experience more and more freedom as you expose the lie, because the enemy would want nothing more, and your oppressor, when I say enemy, I do mean, you know, in the supernatural sense.
Yes.
But the oppressor that you have will continue to tell you things to keep you bound, so you will not come out of that relationship.
Yes.
So I'm speaking to any lady right now that's in that. Narcissism is a real thing. Let me tell you what narcissism does. It weakens you to the point that when he hits you, it's, oh, I deserve that.
Yeah.
It starts with the verbal abuse. It starts with the grooming. Somehow or another, you girls had to be groomed to some point to get to that. You know what I mean? They know what they have to do. And it's the same thing with the verbal abuse. I'm going to minimize the person that you are to such a point that you're going to believe no one will want you, no one will have you. Yury talked about that she was in an abusive relationship and felt like, and she allowed it. You did, I don't think you shared that, did you? That you went back? Am I saying too much?
No,
okay.
No, I don't know if I shared it. Like, what do you mean I went back? Like, to the abusive relationship?
Yeah, that there was one experience that you had.
Oh,
you personally
many
shared.
times.
Sorry, guys. We don't talk too much about
no,
what
but
we're
yeah,
going to talk
like
about.
you said,
That,
I was like, I left the guy so many times. I was like, no, I don't deserve that. But it was just one of those things like, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, here. Oh, okay.
Right.
But you know, like, and then I would go back to the same relationship over and over to the point where I'm like, I kind of accepted it. And I was like, oh, okay, I just got to make sure I literally walking on eggshells that I didn't send him off.
Right.
You know, because I didn't want to get hit
right.
that day. You know, so like, I don't want to get hit.
Crazy.
You know, so like, and so I would do things a certain way, and that was, and that was my life. Like, I was like, and I accepted it, and I believe that that's what I deserve, because I wasn't gonna find any better. And it, like you said, mental. Verbal abuse, because he said those things to me, that I'm like, I'm the best thing that you're gonna ever get, you know, because he took care of me financially or whatever. You know, at the time I was going to school, so I wasn't working. Right. I was like, and so a lot of it, you know, so he was taking care of me financially. So I was just like, oh, I'm not gonna find anything better, you know, and the lies, you know, and I'm like, yeah, okay, well, I didn't. I was like, I spoke my mind too much. And so I deserve getting slapped. I'm like, I spoke my mind. So
having my own thoughts.
I know. You know, so I deserve to get hit. You know, and that was like, yeah, like it. Yeah. I went back to it many times. I left and I went back. I lived like that for about 2 years. Like, just back and forth.
No one should live like that.
And no one should. It's not okay.
It's not okay. And again, we don't want to put shame on anyone who may be enduring that, because I know that there's women that are, you know, it really hurts me a little bit when I hear the stories now, like with the side chick that, you know, open relationships. Well, he comes home to me, and I'm like, you are not deserving of that. I'm sorry. If he wants to be with someone else, and the problem is that women tend to get so invested into a relationship where we have kids, we have a home. So what? You can start over. The idea that you can't do something without a man, and again, in the Hispanic culture, this is a big thing. What are we supposed to do, ladies? As soon as we finish school, go find that husband, get married, have a bunch of kids, you know? It's such a like, this is what you're supposed to do. And so, tú le aguantas lo que, porque él te da el dinero, él te trae la comida. Well, no, you know, we are not in a day and age, and you know, it's not even, because some people will say, oh, well, you need to respect yourself more. It's not even about the respect. It's about your value and your worth and how you see yourself. You are completely allowing your self-worth and your value to be hung up on one person. So that's why it's so hard to go. And that's why you're like, man, you know, we've been married over 20 years, and please, I'm not promoting divorce. No. What I'm saying is that you cannot be in a relationship where you're feeling unloved and and you're just like, I'm just gonna deal with this. I'm gonna tolerate this because we've been in this for so long. That's also a form of abuse. That's an emotional abuse. Women die from that, like, or kill you. Like, you know what I'm saying? But that this is why, she's crazy. No, you made her crazy. Like, she put up on your path, and now you're trying to figure out why your car got keyed and
then, and even living that way, especially if you have kids, now you're modeling that for the kids,
for the children.
Now they're going to grow up. The young boys, the young girls that, oh no, you're supposed to, mom and daddy, this is how they did it,
right.
And it's okay. We keep quiet. We let it happen, and the man can just whatever, whatever situation. It could be the women being the abuser to the husband,
right?
And when there's children involved, they see that and they think it's okay, and that's what they learn. And growing up, that's what they believe a family should look like, what love should look like. And it's like, no, you want better for your kids, but if you want better for your kids, you gotta accept the better for yourself.
Right.
Right.
What would you ladies, just because we talked about a few things, we talked about, being actually physically abused as a child and what that's done. But what would you say to just a woman who's dealing with abuse? Someone who there would be shame put on them if they were to get up and leave, or maybe financially they can't. Like, what advice or what would you say to them to just kind of help them through that process?
Well, one of the things that I mentioned is I'm thankful for the things that God has allowed me to live through, not because that is who I am, but because I feel like, again, they brought me to a time like this. Right. A lot of the bad choices that I made were being in bad relationships, just because I was seeking for that warmth and love of a father. Mm-hmm. I actually dated a man that was much, much older than I was, and that was the father of my first child. Everything was great at first, but then he did become abusive, very abusive. Wow. And so I was one of those teenagers that said, I'm not going to be those stereotype girls on Maury that has a kid, because I'm not gonna be without the baby. That I'm gonna toughen it out. I'm gonna ride it out with this guy. I left my mom's house and I said I'm never gonna go back, and this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be with this person. We're just gonna make it work. Wow. And so what did he want me to do? I dropped out of school. Okay. Yeah. He wanted to be the one to provide for me. I couldn't drive. I couldn't work. I couldn't do anything. Wow. Okay. So one day I just had enough. I turned 17, almost 18. I realized my good years, literally, I had given to him. Right. And, his drinking was getting really bad. Wow. So I said, this is not the life I want. Yeah. So I took my baby. I called my mom and I called a place I thought I was never going to go back to, but definitely was a safer place. Right. Wow. And I said, Mom, come get me. Mm-hmm. And I never looked back. Wow. So I was able to get myself my first job. Mm-hmm. I was able to get myself my own apartment. The thing is that God opens doors if you let him. Yes. If you just give it to him and just say, God, I can't do this. Right. But not just be like, okay, God, I'm going to give it to you, but just halfway. Mm-hmm. I still let me just kind of still go with him. Let me just still talk to him a little bit. No, you just literally have to give it up, let it go. Because if it's toxic, ladies, and if it's almost gonna kill you, it might just do that if you don't get out of that situation. Yeah. So I did that, and I thank God. I love my son. Him and I have a great relationship now that we're older. But that's just what it is. There is healing from all that. And I say to you, don't feel like there is not gonna be a way out. Don't feel like your temporary situation is gonna be the rest of your life, because it's not. Because there is a beautiful story waiting to be written from the ashes that you're in right now. Yeah. So you're in a very much temporary place. It's just the beginning of your story. So let God make something great of your current situation. So just, just keep on, just get out of there. And there's resources. There's a church nearby. There's women. Hey, drop us a message, please, if you're in need. We're gonna walk what we talk about. So, and that's what it comes down to. There's got to be a faith with action. Yeah. So today, if you have faith, put some action into it. Mm-hmm. So that's my word for you today.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so good.
I think like the biggest killer is isolation. Because like when I isolated myself is when he kind of isolated me, but I also was like I isolated myself where I was like, no, I'm not gonna talk to my friends anymore, nobody. So I didn't let nobody because of the shame, and I was like, because I was always like the strong person, but now I'm letting myself get beat. I was like, now I'm letting myself get beat, but like that isolation was a big killer. So if you're going through anything, do not isolate yourself.
That's good.
Keep your like you have those close friends, the ones that you can grab onto, you can tell them anything, the ones that will be there for you. I was like, say something, like it's always good to like speak up. If you need help, say that. Like say I need help, because that's the biggest thing that will get you down is the isolation. When you pull yourself away from family and friends, family and friends, they're there, they care for you, they love you. Like I lived in California and my family lived out here in Texas, so they didn't know what was going on. My family had no idea what was going on. And so and then also I covered it up, I gotta cover it up because I'm doing good.
Friends like no other.
Yeah, like also like because that's what we learn, covering things up. We learn to cover things up, and we cover things up. I don't know. But the biggest thing is just talk to someone. You said there's the church. If you don't go to church, there's therapists. Like it's therapy.
There's crisis centers. Yes.
Therapy is not a bad word. Don't
No es una palabra mala, hermanas.
Yeah. Because when people hear therapy, they're like, "Oh, you're crazy" or whatever.
I just want my money.
I want my money.
You just suck it up and keep it going.
No, but you know what? It's not about word. Like talking about it.
It's therapeutic.
And it's not forever. You know, I mean, you and I have talked about so many things that we've not had to talk about again. And then it's like it just opens the door to something else and then something else. And yes, sometimes things will come back to your memory. And if you have a good friend that's willing to listen to you over and over again, they'll hear you out. But really, therapy or anything of that, any sort of counseling is supposed to help you kind of shut that door. Unfortunately, we can't forget everything that we've gone through, but it helps us to move to the next thing. And it doesn't make you weak. You talked about that before. Like it's not, you're not weak. Trauma doesn't make you weak. It strengthens you. And I just want to clarify this. We do say like, okay, we went through this. God is never, and I talk about the Lord because, I'm a believer, but that is never his intent for your life. The fact that we say, I'm thankful that this happened because I can help someone. What we mean to say, like, it's not that he allowed it so that I'm going through it so that I can help someone else. We're in this world. There's people that don't believe in God. They're going to live their life. They're going to do what they do. And clearly, even within a Christian environment, things happen. The point that we're trying to make is that we're thankful that we were overcome it and that we're still here. That again, we are not a product of the thing that happened to us, and that we can help each other. Like we can sit here and talk about this, like, man, this sucked. And I hate this, and we could still cry about it and be at a safe space and a safe place with one another. But therapy is not, just, and I always say this, it's not the end all be all. It's so that you can progress. It's not so that you continue to repeat the things so that you stay in it. It's so that you talk about it to get out of it, to move forward. It's always about moving forward. We serve, I always say this, we serve a sovereign God. And people are like, why is there evil in this world? Well, you think about the choices that you make. He didn't make you make those choices. You did. And so when you think about why things happen, we have the choice and the freedom to make them. There are certain things that are done to us that weren't our choice, and that's the part that we struggle with. But when we talk about it, we can come out of it. When we go to the Lord, we find that redemptive love and that power. I am healed from a lot of things that have been done to me because I know that there is a God that loves me. And we have the worth, we have the value, we have the love. So I just think it's so important. Have the conversations, y especialmente las hermanas en la iglesia. Deja de estar siendo tan chismosas y malas. nosotros tenemos que querer una a la otra. We have to love one another. You know, it's not, did you see what happened to that one? I mean, come on, enough already.
Yeah.
We have women committing suicide, children committing suicide, because no one wants to believe the things that they're saying, or that their parents are unwilling to believe something that's happened to them.
Don't get discouraged.
Yes.
If you do talk to someone and they kind of dismiss you,
Yeah.
don't let that hold you back.
No.
Find someone else. Find someone else.
Find
Like,
someone
now,
else.
and if it's a friend, then that wasn't a friend.
That's right.
You know, like if you're confiding in a friend and they're making the excuses for you, be like, you know what, you're not my friend.
That's it.
Go find
Yeah.
someone else, and you know, don't let one person that you tell, you know, or trying to get help from, like, hey, I
Yes,
need
that's
help,
good.
and they're kind of like dismiss you, or they don't want to really help you or believe you. Go find another person,
Right.
because there's people out there that care,
Yes.
and that you know they
Yes.
care, and they're gonna want to help you. So don't let just that one person stop.
I just want to reiterate that you are not your trauma. And again, as we all shared, if you need help, please find someone that you can contact. Reach out to us. We're really open. It's what we do.
Yes.
We just want to thank our friend here for just sharing her heart and what happened. I know that was tough, but we appreciate it. And Yury as well, thank you so much. And join us next time, ladies. Take it easy.
Bye.